Folks, here we are. Little treat today. I have Eric Jones with me with Eric Jones Studios. If you guys have seen these sculptures all over town in front of dealerships or sand sculptures of anything Buffalo Bills, this man right here is responsible. So if you did one in your front lawn, he's apologizing now, but you probably like the way it looked at the time, right?
Yeah, they don't look good for long.
We all melt here. Today we are at Heart of the Home, and we are doing a little on-site, something a little different here, just to kind of get the juices flowing.
Kitchen and Bath Gallery is proud to be a woman-owned, family-operated business with over 40 years combined experience. We specialize in creating custom spaces with a personalized approach, ensuring your dream home becomes a reality. Enjoy free consultation and design services while we guide you every step of the way. As a premier Cambria dealer, visit our beautiful showroom and experience the exceptional customer service and remarkable results that set us apart. Heart of the Home Kitchen and Bath Gallery in Hamburg. Imagine the possibilities.
So what's up, brother?
How you doing? Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. I'm doing great.
Yeah, it's been, I'm exhausted actually, but it's been really fun. I did about 35 snow sculptures in 10 weeks.
35 snow sculptures in 10 weeks.
Yeah.
And those are big sculptures.
They're big. Oh yeah, all of them are huge. I mean, the smallest ones were like 4 foot by 6 foot. The biggest ones were 22, 25 feet, 8 by 8 feet tall. Huge. Yeah, they're huge.
You've lucked out this year, man. Otherwise,
It's been a great year for me.
I mean, not so much for me. No, it's been tough out here up here in Buffalo. We've had a couple feet of snow. Is it fair to say for the last couple of months? I haven't seen today's green grass, and I'm celebrating because it's 50, and tomorrow it's supposed to be 20. But for this man, phenomenal opportunity. The sculptures. Let's just narrow in on these things, man. How did you kind of come up with, hey, I'm going to be able to sculpt snow? Like how long have you been doing this?
Yeah, and actually everything started with pumpkins. So a few years ago, I did a pumpkin carving of Al Roker, and they put it on the Today Show.
Smart.
And it took off. Well, then
Did you kind of do that on purpose, hoping you hit it on there?
Yeah, well, they used to have a thing called the Monday Moment, and it was Halloween time. I'm like, I'm just going to try this. So I had Al Roker, and it made it on the show. And then someone from Halloween Wars, one of the the crew, they asked me to audition. So there's Food Network, and then I was a finalist. So that kind of took off. And then when pumpkin season, I started to get followers and people saying, what can you do in the winter? I'm like, I'm going to try to learn how to sculpt snow. So I have always had a passion for sculpting.
This is all self-taught?
It's all self-taught. I mean, I went to art school, Alfred University, Southern Tier, but you really
Shout out Alfred.
Alfred, yes, school of accents. But yeah, it's kind of you don't really learn this in art school. It's just like you develop a passion. And I was a 2D artist for years, and I got into sculpting, just fell in love with it. So I started learning the snow. The process is to actually mold up blocks of snow and then remove the material and carve it out. Okay. So it's the opposite of a snowman. You're not building up the sculpture. You're actually making a big block and then taking it away.
You kind of treat each block like its own pumpkin?
Exactly. It's exactly the same.
See, I already got this figured out, man.
This giant cold square pumpkin. That's what that's got,
right. And then you'll do each piece at a time.
Yeah, and you're removing. So it's the opposite of 2D art. So any type of 2D art, you're adding material to create the art. This case, it's already there. You're just removing what you don't want visible.
Obviously a big Bills fan.
I'm obsessed. So the Bills.
Most
of what I do is Buffalo Bills.
The projects, if you haven't seen them and you are going to see him on the show here, they're going to be up, and you're going to be watching them as we're speaking. But it's pretty amazing. I mean, it's truly, this man can sculpt, Josh Allen, Deion Dawkins, Matt Collins into the side of a snowbank, and it looks, like, I guess maybe I would describe it as maybe a snowman-esque, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm kind of thinking of the wording here. What I love about the show being as raw as it is we can just think as we go. Yeah. But I'm trying to think of something to really compare it to, man. I mean, there's ice sculptures and there's snow sculptures. These are snow sculptures.
Yeah, I think the beauty of sculpting with snow is you can use some liberties. So I do what's called a relief carve. So if you look at a quarter or a penny, the face on it is 3-dimensional, but it's not a realistic 3-dimensional. It's just a relief carving.
Yeah.
So some of my carvings are like that. Some are full 3-dimensional. The difference with snow and ice, though, is I can
raise it. You can raise it.
You can, but I use color. With ice, I use color. So I paint my sculptures. Sometimes I use spray paint. But when I'm doing one for the Buffalo Zoo and the bears are climbing on it, if you see those, I use Gatorade. Sometimes I use colored Gatorade.
Really?
Yeah.
It doesn't melt it?
No. If you keep it cold, it'll actually freeze in the snow.
It tells you what's in Gatorade, right? So we're not getting involved in the sculptures.
And the polar bears would love it. I did a sculpture for the polar bears at the Buffalo Zoo.
Yeah, tell us more about that.
Yeah, it was really fun.
So, and how did you get linked up with the zoo?
So visit Buffalo Niagara Tourism. They're an outfit here in Buffalo.
Do they find these people find you?
Yeah, my stuff goes all over, and they just reach out to me. So they wanted to do this art trail around to different sculptures around the city for people to go and visit. So I did that with, and then one of them was the Buffalo Zoo. Yeah.
Hold on. Time out.
Yeah.
A trail throughout Buffalo.
Right. We started this year with.
See, hey, listen, I don't know. I'm raw to the. I don't know anything about this. Him and I are meeting for the first time, and I found this man so interesting that it's a break from the athletes, and I said I got to get this guy on the show. I'm thinking when you say that, almost a freedom trail in Boston, where you're going. If you've been to Boston, Massachusetts.
Oh yeah.
And you're going.
It's just amazing,
right? And we now have a snow trail. Was it?
Yeah. So it wasn't. I don't know if I'd call it a trail. It was basically 3 spots around the city where you could go and get selfies of my sculptures. And I had them done simultaneously. So they were all presented. They did a live
and move quick on those, right?
It was an all nighter. I was sculpting at 4 a.m. At the Botanical Garden. So one was at the Botanical Garden, one was at Buffalo Zoo, one was at Chestnut Ridge. And it was a trial this year and they loved it. It went really well. So we're going to do like 40.
Did you do it at the casino at the Ridge?
No, did one right at the slope. It was a big Buffalo Bills mug
at the toboggan slope.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
yeah.
Right where the swings.
Yeah,
I don't know. I missed that. Where they're well, I can tell you how I missed it is I've been hibernating inside because it's been so cold. Does the temperature? How much of a difference is the temperature? Right. So we have the snow that's 29 degrees. We have the snow that's 5 degrees, and obviously you can't do much with the slush. What is the ideal temperature to build these?
So the colder the better.
Okay,
colder the better. I can't sculpt if it's above freezing unless the snow was packed when it was below freezing. And even then it's tricky because, the snow just, it wants to just start to, slush up. So the colder the better. But I have sculpted slush. What I typically do is if I know that the temperature's going to get above freezing, I'll mold the snow and pack the snow into the molds and I'll leave it in the molds until it gets below freezing. Then when it's below freezing, I take the molds off. Now I've got a brick of ice.
So you're holding it there almost, right? So exactly. Preserving it. Now, this winter in particular, there's been a lot of this powdery snow though, right?
Perfect.
Is it?
It's perfect.
It's a powdery.
Yeah, because you're not,
how do you pack it?
No, you're not packing it. So what you're doing is you are packing it, but you're putting it into wooden molds. So basically, it's like picture a refrigerator box, right? You put in about a foot of snow, you pack it down with your feet, stomp it down. Another foot, pack it.
Okay.
And then you have a brick, and then you just let it settle overnight. You remove that brick, and you just have a compact. So the cold snow works great. I mean, if it's powdery, way below freezing, it works fantastic. You just have to let it settle so the snow congeals together.
Sounds like me on Sunday night when I'm trying to get everything I can into the garbage cans.
Exactly.
And I got to jump on top and I'm jumping on top of them because my kids.
And then
well, it's I'm talking in the canister.
Oh yeah.
So
can you get it out?
The truck can barely lift it up.
Exactly.
How did you get involved with this, man? I mean, a natural artist, this is what you went to school for. This has always been your natural passion. At what age, I guess, did you say, this is where I want to go, or this is what I love doing?
That's a really interesting question because I was probably 4 or 5 years old. I was obsessed with drawing people. I never drew stick figures. I always drew volume and dimension, even as a little toddler.
Really?
And
4 years old, you're drawing.
Well, yeah, my
characters.
Not characters, but I always saw space and volume and things differently, ratio. And my mom used to yell at me because while my brother and sister were drawing stick figures, I was drawing people with boobs and belly buttons. It's like that's what I saw. I said volume, dimension.
And they're thinking like, hey, don't draw that. But man,
right.
I mean,
but that's what I see.
Yeah.
Like when someone saw, I don't see a stick person. Nobody looks like that.
Right.
There's volume and dimension to people. And that's how I started drawing, even as a kid. And I didn't realize
that creative side of my brain was.
Yeah, I didn't realize I had that gift until I got into grade school and I saw other kids couldn't do that. Then something interesting happened to me. I was in 6th grade and I had a bad teacher. He's retired now. But he came by and saw me drawing and it was a free time. And he said, you should put that away and find something constructive to do.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm actually working on a book that's called that.
Are you really
constructive?
What a brilliant idea.
Yeah. And I kind of,
the dude's smart. You can tell when you sit down and talk to him, man, just, quick-witted and things of that nature. And sorry to interrupt you there, man, but it's just like so much that I want to ask you and flow and find something constructive to do. Right. Whereas, I mean, I think any teacher sees that now in the creative level and you're not into the video games and doing everything else, right? They'd be raising the parents, right? Even though the parents wanted nothing to do, they were
exactly. Yeah. When he said that, of course, as a 6th grader, your teachers are everything.
Of course, you're going to listen.
I was heartbroken because I thought
took it personal.
It's the one thing I'm good at. It's the one thing I'm passionate about. If that's not constructive, who am I? Right.
Right.
So it took me a few years and then into art school before I realized, you know what? I'm good enough at this that I can make a living doing it. And now I do great. You know, I do all kinds of things.
What was the first contest, something you won where you proved to yourself, I'm better than others at this, even others that are into art?
Yeah. I won a high school art competition, and
You remember what you drew?
I have no idea.
Come on,
I honestly don't remember. I remember winning it. I don't think I would have won. Now I might have. Yeah, I don't remember. I actually don't remember what I drew. But professionally, once I got into doing this professionally, I guess when I made it on the Food Network and was a finalist on the show, and then I eventually won the Food Network show, so I'm a Food Network champion.
It's a great segue. We're gonna.
It is. But that's. And now I've got Guinness records and things like that.
Well,
So
let's take about
it's taken
that.
off.
You can't just say, "Oh, I got Guinness."
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, I got a Guinness record. I'm, the coolest dude ever. What's the Guinness records?
So I have the largest jack-o'-lantern ever carved. Like,
Do you really?
yeah,
We're talking to the man right here with the largest jack-o'-lantern ever carved.
that's right. But it's not your typical jack-o'-lantern. It was to honor our veterans. So it actually has 3 veterans. Interesting story though. So the guy that grew it, Travis Geiger from Minneapolis, 2,749 pound pumpkin. He's world record. And
World record.
World record.
You carved the world
Yep,
record.
I carved the world record. So I brought it to Buffalo, carved it in Clarence at the Great Pumpkin.
How'd we get it here?
Trucked it, had a refrigerated truck. But what was interesting is a pumpkin that made. But here's the thing: a 300-pound chunk fell off the back during transport. So Guinness, we had some issues with Guinness. So what I did is I took the piece that fell off and I made a service dog and set it up on
That's
top.
cool as hell, man.
So it was all of that military related.
When was the first time? When did all this go down with the Food Network? When was the first time that you got involved with them? You did tell me a little bit of backstory.
19 is when I filmed Food Network. Aired in 2020.
Now, do they stay in touch with you? Obviously, someone in the talent
Yeah,
I wouldn't think that's a one and done thing.
no, they usually, if you're a good contestant, meaning you don't cause a lot of trouble, you don't trash the hotel, you don't fight with producers.
And you were okay
I
though?
was a good boy.
You didn't trash any hotels?
Did not at all. Well, I mean, I did. There's a lot of pumpkin shavings, but I didn't party.
They didn't see it 20 years ago.
No, so
They
exactly.
didn't see the Alfred days.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, they usually reach out every fall to either be involved somehow with the shows or be a contestant on the shows. And it's great. Doing these shows, you don't do them to win, even though winning is great. And there's a nice paycheck, but it's the publicity.
Sure.
You get on these,
Exposure.
it's national television.
Sure.
And then you become, one of the most highly ranked pumpkin carvers in the world.
Yep.
And then you can market yourself. So then people,
That's become a big thing.
oh, it's huge.
Yeah.
You see a fall festival, where we're going to bring in a Food Network champion and a Guinness World Record holder, and they'll pay you big money to come and carve.
That's why people are coming.
And they come and you can carve and they watch you and you have a good time.
Do you chainsaw anything?
A little bit with ice. I don't do anything that's permanent. All my sculptures are temporary.
All of them.
Everything melts, rots, or washes away.
Okay.
I do sand, ice, snow, and pump.
Why is that? I mean, why not a nice wooden sculpture?
Well,
Yeah.
I'm not that interested in the product. I'm only interested in the process. So
That's what makes you special, man. You think about it, right? Because here's where we're concerned out to you again. We're talking profit. We're talking like we could just say, okay, I'm done with all this stuff. And clearly creative enough, man, and artistic enough to just sell this stuff nationwide, worldwide, from the size of a water bottle to 2,000 pound pumpkin. And then you just sell it. You could make it and you could sell it. And I think right there is where most minds would say, okay, this is what, right?
right.
But I'm kind of getting into your world a little bit, man. I'm digging into your mind space, and you like the whole process. Like, let's wash that board off and start over.
Exactly.
Is that fair to say?
Exactly right. What I'm actually doing is the way I'm selling myself so that this is marketable is I'm selling the process and I'm selling it as an entertainment source rather than a product.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in the product. When I finish a sculpture, I take a picture of it, I walk away and never see it again. I don't care.
That's pretty amazing.
So, and I think there's a lot
yes.
of artists. That's one of the bridges that artists have a hard time gapping. So we want to sell your products because everybody wants to, every artist wants to do that professionally full time, but most of them can't. So they have a different job and they dabble in the art.
You're the starving artist.
Exactly. And I'm not interested in having my art become a product so that I can make a living. I want the process of the art to be the product. So when I'm creating something, you're using the socials, people are coming to see it. It's very temporary. I always tell people,
You're relying on different outlets to make money.
exactly. And I tell people, they say, well, don't you get sad when your sculptures melt? And I'm like, if I hold a real rose in front of you and a plastic one, which one's more interesting? the real one, because it's temporary. You can enjoy that for a couple of days, but other people can't. And that's kind of the approach I take with myself.
Smell it, touch it. It's real.
It's real. And then it's gone. It's because it's temporary. I do a lot of philanthropy, a lot of charity work. You can raise money quickly for those because it's temporary. This is only going to be here for 3 days, guys. I just did a mouse for Cuba cheese down in the Southern Tier, and it was beautiful. I mean, it got thousands.
Was it out of cheese?
No, it was out of snow.
Oh, I thought you said you were carving up cheese, and
I have done that. That's tricky.
that's another thing.
Tricky. Cheese is tricky because it stinks. In the summertime, these festivals, they want me to do cheese.
Really?
Big blocks of cheddar. Yeah, exactly. I did giant blocks of cheddar.
It just depends on the cheese. You can't be doing what's the nasty one?
Well, yeah. There's a couple of those.
Sent me
Something burger. What is it?
I'll sit here all day. I'll just let this run.
Limburger.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the stinky stuff. Yeah. So, but I've done a little bit with cheese, but you got to have the perfect venue. And
Pretty much anything.
since I've been sculpting professionally, I've never spent a day on the beach without sculpting. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I see this. It's like a blank canvas.
Normally, it would be like me not being able to throw a football.
Exactly. And I usually do it because it brings the bikinis around. That's the real reason.
Sure.
And it was funny with my son.
No, Dolly.
I made a giant mermaid sculpture. It's beautiful on the beach. And I told my son, I said, just go down there and tinker with it. Pretend like you did it.
Yeah,
All these chicks. Yeah, he loved it.
And it worked, didn't it?
It worked great.
It worked great.
He had a good time. I just made a great white shark for a boy that's battling cancer down in Pennsylvania. And he's obsessed with great white sharks. And his mom reached out to him. So I went to it. The coolest part was he put on his snowsuit, he skipped school, good for him, and he hung out with me the whole day. He helped me.
Did he help you?
Oh, he loved it.
He was like your assistant?
He was making me things, and we got some photos, and he was obsessed. Listen, I spent a day with him sculpting. The thing is, I don't have anything to offer him medically. I don't have any talent, any training, but I can make something in his front yard that'll make him smile, that makes all the neighbors come and watch. And this kid is a celebrity.
Yeah.
Standing by this sculpture for a day.
Yeah.
And that's just, I want to do more and more of that.
How can people reach out to the charity, or how can people say they even just wanted to donate? They like the cause. Just the website.
Yeah. There's links all over my socials at Eric Jones Studios, but sculptingforsmiles.com.
Okay.
And Venmo is Sculpting for Smiles, and you can make a donation, and all of the 100% of the proceeds go to the expenses associated with making the sculpture. So I have a crew that molds the snow.
Okay.
And then there's some expenses with materials and things like that.
It sounds to me, outside looking in, man, obviously this is a career where you're going to profit and make money, but it sounds to me, that you're probably spending a lot of your own money, right? I mean, it's kind of
Definitely. But how do I not?
How do you blur those lines?
Yeah.
How do you unblur those lines?
The thing is, I do okay. I make enough money to live on, and I do pretty well with this business. But when anytime someone reaches out to me and says, "Hey, this kid, this," I feel like, who am I to not? Like, if I can do something with my hand in their front yard and make something cool with very little expense, that's going to brighten their day. How do I not do that? Like, what kind of person am I to not do?
I agree with you. Without getting too personal, you're a faith guy?
Absolutely.
God gave you this gift.
Yeah, I'm pretty. Absolutely.
God gave you this gift. So, and I believe every single human that's born has a gift.
Yeah. Well, right here, it says Laus Deo, written on top of the Washington Monument. Glory to God.
Shit. And I love that, man. And it's a testament kind of to who you are. And again, man, you can just, the passion with this guy sitting next to him, you can just feel it. There's an energy there. I'm a big energy. It's just an energy. Yeah. But without getting too sentimental, what the people really truly want to know is, have you ever eaten a large pizza by yourself?
Every night.
Depends on how large. Well, that's, you know what? Because it can't be like a Domino's or a Little Caesars. I'm talking like a Buffalo.
I don't think I could do
Maybe like a
day. Back in the day when I was in my 20s, I mean, I could put it away. I mean, I still can, but not.
Question was, have you ever eaten a large pizza by yourself? Eric, you're skirting around the question, and I don't like.
I'm gonna say excluding like a Little Caesars. I can pack one of those away like chips.
Yeah. Well, so for my 11.
Yeah. I don't think I have, but it's a good challenge. I'll give it a shot.
Yeah. Did you drink in college?
Not really. No, I drink more now than I did in college. I like a glass of whiskey to calm me down at night. But no, in college I was really focused on my art. I was engaged very young too, so I had a fiance. I was busy with sports and arts, and I loved baseball.
The fact that you were able to, that's my passion. The fact that you were able to kind of get through college and stay focused like that is where many people are, and kudos to you for that. And I actually quit drinking 6 years ago. And I'm looking to get up to the point on the show where I can start talking about sobriety and things like that. I think clarity is just so important for people. And it's not everybody's path, and I would never preach it to anyone. I know there's dudes like me in their 30s and 40s struggling, weekend warrior type guys.
Yeah, exactly.
That go out and it's a social thing.
Yeah.
You go to a tailgate. You know, you got one of your sculptures, you worked all day on it, say some idiots doing kite stands on it or something. Right. You know what I'm saying? And it's just, you lose respect, you know, when you kind of, it changes.
It does. So does. When it gets out of hand, it's obnoxious.
Yes, man. And if I could go home in and have a glass of bourbon, or you and I could go out and drink a glass of bourbon, I would do it every day.
Yeah.
Problem is, my glass of bourbon
Turns into 9.
and then I want to fight you. Right now, we're having this conversation. We're friends. All right. I feel like we're friends. And by the end of it, I'd want to fight.
Isn't it amazing that the personality changes that happen? Because some people get very sentimental, very soft.
Yeah.
Some people just
depending on what you drink.
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy. Now I usually just go to sleep. It just puts me asleep. And my son and I'll have a glass of Jack Daniels, and we just fall asleep.
This was a lot of fun, man. A couple more questions.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to let you head out here. You could have dinner with 3 people, can't be family. Who are your 3 people of all time? People of all time. Nothing like on the spot. That's why I like it, right?
This is on the spot.
3 people, can't be family members. Who you having dinner with?
Jesus.
I'm family now, so you can't include me.
Jesus Christ.
Second answer in 2 days was Jesus Christ. I love that, man.
That's number 1. Number 2 would be like this little unconventional. Michelangelo. I think he was almost supernatural in his art ability. He was the greatest sculptor that ever lived, without question. And I'm baffled by his work. Nobody's ever been able to emulate him. I'd love to have a conversation, try to understand how he sees it. It's a great answer. And then a cheesy answer would be,
You'd have to learn Italian.
that's true. I don't know much. I'm obsessed with the talents of Michael Jordan. Always have been. I think he's probably one of the greatest athletes to ever play any sport in human history. I just think it's incredible. But honestly, I grew up watching Michael. I was a fan of his at North Carolina, so I wasn't a Bulls fan until he got drafted. So with me, and now same with me, fan. It's just like I just started watching him play when I was like, it's almost supernatural. I'm so intrigued.
But it's just with just everything that you do. It's a craft. I mean, like I said, God gave you what you have, and
He did. It's interesting to hear people say things like the patience you must have. We talk about patience like it's a bad thing, but when you're obsessed with something, when you love doing something, it doesn't take patience to do it. You're enjoying it. Right. I mean, I love spending 3 days creating something great. You don't have to be patient. I'm passionate about it. I love it. You have to be patient with things you don't enjoy doing. You know what I mean?
it's a really good point.
A lot of people throw that word out there, but like I think that's it's not like I'm getting a root canal. I love what I'm doing.
Maybe by nature, an artist maybe is built with that patience, which, you know what I'm saying?
And that's a right brain thing, because I think you talk to musicians, they have that same idea, because they will spend months writing a song.
Bro, Eddie Vedder doesn't think are you a Pearl Jam guy?
What's that?
Pearl Jam?
Oh, yeah.
Big Pearl Jam fan, right? And Yellow Lead, to me, one of the best songs, right, that they ever wrote. And he said the reason it wasn't on 10, their first album, because the band was mad at him. They had that, that amazing riff there, and he didn't have the lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
So he wasn't ready, right? There was 11 songs.
Took his time.
The patience, right? And this is a hard rock star, ripping hotels apart and stuff. He didn't have the lyrics. He had them, but he didn't have the way he wanted them,
Right. Yeah, that again, like you said, I think that's a great point, is artists are naturally gifted with that patience.
Yeah.
Because people, and a lot of that just comes, if you don't have a passion for something, you're not going to have the patience to sit down and do it.
Right.
But I'm obsessed with it. I mean, I wish it would keep snowing. As much as I love the warm weather, and I'm ready for another storm.
Yeah, but see, like I said,
Kansas.
spring comes, you're going to find something. I mean,
Sand.
It'll go right to sand.
Right to sand. April.
So it is predominantly snow and sand, right?
Yeah, there's like a 6-week window where it's insane pumpkin world. I'm working 7 days a week, 16 hours a day for 6 weeks straight without a team, because the pumpkin window is so small. But I'm all over the country.
You're probably not rolling through Tim Hortons getting the pumpkin spots.
Oh my goodness! Come November.
I
don't touch a pumpkin.
Oh, no, right?
Pumpkins is everything.
They all beg for this.
Sweaters and the boots, and the Carhartt hats. I love it. That's me too. I do. I love the fall. I mean, it's my favorite. See too. It's
Born in September. October's my favorite month.
nice. I love it. I do too. It's beautiful. And also you're introducing football season. I just get excited for that.
100%.
Yeah. The beauty of America is you can make a living from almost anything. Right? Almost anything. And when you see a kid really passionate,
And some things you shouldn't be doing.
that's true. When you see a kid that's really passionate about something, cultivate that. Don't steer them in another direction, because if they're passionate about it when they're young, they can turn that into a career. As crazy as it may seem, if you're the world's best shoelace tire, you can have a TikTok doing that. It's like that's the world we live in now. So when you see a kid that's passionate, push them in that direction. Encourage them.
Amazing point. I love that you said that. Speaking about anything you want, shout out to Patty's Brothels, the latest sponsor. Joe,
Nice.
There's no Patty's Brothels. It's
I was gonna
complete.
say,
This was awesome, man. It's a lot of fun. Ladies and gentlemen, Eric Jones. A lot of ways to reach out, and I'm going to have this stuff blasted all over the place. Heart of the home. If you're looking for any type of kitchen remodeling, just from scratch type stuff, you come in, you get creative designs, computer, set everything up, and the ladies over here take good care of you. So thanks for watching, and Moneyball out. Eric,
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
my pleasure.